Low-carbon IT is informed, strategic application of technology to your IT landscape with a view to lowering your carbon footprint. It encompasses people, process, technology, and it can range from nudge factors, such as helping people understand how to use technology better, through to sort of larger programs of change. There are a number of different benefits that can be realised by applying some of these technologies and these approaches. I think clearly the first one is by making informed choices about the footprint of the technology, the carbon footprint of the technology you're using. You can move the dial in terms of how that pertains to your organisation. To do that effectively, you need to baseline where you are and then measure what changes you've made. Examples of how you can apply technology range from trying to do more with the assets that you've got, so sweating the assets, if you like. So it's been demonstrated a number of times that adding capacity to existing equipment has a lower footprint than completely replacing that equipment. So you might get more benefit from refreshing the memory or the hard drive of a laptop than you would do from completely replacing that laptop, for example. If you're a financial services business that's heavily reliant on IT, perhaps you've got your own data centres or you're working with substantial hardware, then thinking carefully about how you're using that will have, potentially have significant benefits as part of a low carbon IT strategy. One of the ways that companies can embed this kind of thinking into their architecture and their ways of working is through design principles, and a design principle might be cloud first. So if you're doing something new, you might look to a cloud offering first that will enable you to move to that on-demand kind of model, which in turn reduces the energy consumption, which in turn reduces the emissions. Another area that potentially offers some benefit is just really sort of setting yourself up as an organisation that can support hybrid working. If you move to a hybrid working model, you can potentially reduce the amount of commuting that people need to do, and therefore you can leverage technology to reduce emissions in other areas. First of all, depending on the nature of your business, the contribution of the IT estate to the overall carbon footprint of the business needs to be considered, and it may be, as part of a holistic strategy, there are some more significant gains elsewhere. So the first thing to think about is you can't just look at it in isolation. You need to think of it as part of your overall approach. The other thing I'd raise is that this technology needs to be applied appropriately to realise the benefits. If we take the example of cloud adoption, a business may choose to take their applications and move it from a traditional data centre into more of a cloud offering, which allows them to move to an on-demand model. What this means is that they pay for the cloud computing power that they consume, but one of the disadvantages is if you just lift up what you've already got and move that into the cloud and don't leverage the features of the cloud that allow what's known as elasticity, which allows you to scale up and scale down your computing power when you need it, then all you've done is move the problem from the data center into the cloud. So it's about making informed choices about the way you use the technology as well as just signing up. Low carbon IT, it's a broad spectrum of different initiatives and technologies that can be applied, and there isn't really a silver bullet that solves all the problems. But I think what cloud vendors are doing, for example, is they are committing to reducing their carbon footprint and in the short and medium and long term. And that provides a platform for organisations to take advantage of to achieve these things. Similarly, in the hardware space, laptop vendors and other organisations are looking very hard at their supply chain and their energy efficiency on a continual basis. So what organisations can do is make sure that that they are looking at an appropriate set of suppliers when they're making these decisions, and that they're making these decisions in an informed way. Another example of where organisations can support a low carbon IT approach is to look at it as part of their holistic low carbon strategy, and there will be some types of business that will benefit more from employing these approaches than others, and I think leadership of those organisations, helping them recognise that and helping them build that into their strategies, will allow them to deliver and start to realise some of those benefits. So I think it's important to recognise that low carbon IT is a factor in a broader IT strategy. And the IT strategy is obviously there to support the needs of the business. One way that organisations can support this technology and these initiatives is by consciously embedding low carbon IT into their IT strategy. And if they do that, that will allow them to realise the benefits that we're talking about. Another thing we see is that the major cloud vendors are all making medium and long-term commitments to reduce their carbon footprint, and businesses can take advantage of that by using their technologies. One of the things we see is cloud vendors looking at innovative ways to cool their data centres. One example is looking at hosting data centres underwater to take advantage of the natural cooling situation and pass on those advantages as part of their long-term commitments to sustainability. Low carbon IT provides a great opportunity for businesses to really lower their carbon footprint as part of their decarbonisation strategy. The great thing about it is many businesses will already be doing some of these approaches and using these technologies. The key thing is to do it in an informed way, and if businesses do that, it'll have a great impact on their carbon footprint.